Darryl Seiwell and his brother Denny hanging out, and well, Darryl has been, and you know, it's a good gig. I could use you as a co-host. What are you doing tomorrow?
I don't know. I probably have to get out of bed to get up here early enough. That's a problem.
Well, what the heck? I mean, we start at 9. You can roll in even a little later if you want. 9:30.
We'll see. You want a co-host, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean,
sure.
I'd rather have a co-host with boobs, but I mean, or a woman in a skirt. But it's
I'm
like
halfway there.
Yeah. You're all, you're all right. You'd work. Listen, these guys, we've been having some fun, but we've been telling you as well. Darryl's brother Denny out in California, and via Skype we have Denny on board here with us. Denny, are you there?
I'm here.
Man, look how comfortable he looks in his studio, Darryl.
Well, naturally, he has a studio. I don't have one. You have one. I feel kind of like the odd man out here.
Oh, that is too funny.
Wait a second. This really isn't a studio. It's a second bedroom.
Oh.
I've fallen asleep in studios, too. I might fall asleep in this one.
Well, that's all right. The chairs are comfortable.
Yeah, they're very
nice.
nice.
Yeah. So, Denny Seiwell, one of the original members of course, we all know Paul McCartney and Wings. We have a host of people throughout the entire country on board here with us. And first want to say thank you very much for the exclusive and welcome to the show.
Oh, you're very welcome, and it's really an honor, and it's great to be here. Are your listeners, are they listening and viewing because of the Skype?
Oh,
or?
yeah, some are through through Blue Ridge, through the cable company here.
Right.
They're watching it live on Blue Ridge Digital Cable Channel 113,
Excellent.
Which is cool.
Excellent. Make sure that I'm coughed up in that case.
Yeah, you look good. Well, I saw Darryl. Darryl was combing his hair in his car too before he came in. You know
what's left of it.
Well, look, you have a heck of a lot more than I do, both of you. So, we have a lot going on. Denny Seiwell has a busy schedule. Happy that Denny was able to join us, and I don't know. It started for you guys on 8th Street in Lehighton. My sister Laureen, who you guys know, she remembers yesterday. She was out at the house, and she goes, "I still remember Denny in his Navy uniform." That's what she remembered.
Now, that's a memory I like to forget.
But it started at a young age. I mean, even reading your bio and some things that are going on. 5 years old, and your dad hands you a set of drumsticks. I don't know if that was to beat your younger brother, or if you actually, that's how it all started for you.
Well, it was something like that. Our dad was a drummer. You know, he was a really fine drummer too. But they told me that when I was 1, they gave me a snare drum, and I poked the stick through the one head, poked it through the other head in about 15 minutes time, and that was the end of that. So, but later on, my dad used to sometimes leave his drums out, and you know, if he'd leave the house, I'd go bang on him. And I think he started me in the Lehighton Boys Band when I was 7.
Wow.
Darryl too, probably. But,
yeah, I was pretty young too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was great. I mean, having our dad as a role model musically was very, very important, I think, to both of us, because you know, he worked hard. He worked at the railroad. Yep. He put in a tough 8-hour day, but on the weekend he always had a gig, and he loved playing. It was very important to him. I think he instilled that in both of us.
It really is, you know, as far as you've both taken it, even on the levels that you both you know, can have claim to. I mean, Darryl here still doing it up with kids still playing. You yourself, I mean, you got to be one of the hardest working drummers in all of in all of the music world, Denny. I mean, you've played with some of the greats. How did it, you know, people often want to know, I guess, you know, how it all started. You were doing session work in New York City when Paul McCartney, you know, got a hold of your name, I guess, when you went to audition?
Yeah, but it started a little before that when I got out of the Navy. You know, I got this gig up at Mount Airy, you know, up there in the Poconos. Mm-hmm. I had the gig in the show band. Actually, I had a couple of gigs before that. I met some guys in New York City playing in these resorts. And finally, I'm at Mount Airy, and Dave Frischberg, a piano player that I was working with at the time, he said, Zoot Sims and Al Cohn play at the Half Note in New York, and Mousy Alexander was their drummer. And Mousy is leaving to go on tour or something, but there's a chance that you could get that gig. And I drove down to New York, and I told Zoot Sims, I said, I'm a friend of Dave Frischberg's, and he sent me down here to see if I could play with you. And Zoot says, sure, man, any friend of Dave's. He said, what do you play? I said, I'm a drummer. He said, I hate drummers. So anyway, he let me sit in that night and offered me the gig. Wow. So when I started, and I moved into the city, and when I started playing 6 nights a week, 6 sets a night at the Half Note with Al Cohn and Zoot Sims, wow, these giants, what happened was I became visible in the eyes of the musical community in New York, and pretty soon some of the recordings work started coming my way through a guy named Russ Zavakis, who was a contractor in those days and a well-known bass player, and he set up a lot of studio dates. So that's how it all started. By the time McCartney came to town several years later, I'd worked my way up the ranks, and he took the top 10 or 12 drummers at the time in the city, and he auditioned them, and I just won the audition. He just liked my vibe and the way I played.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, from there, the stage was set, you know, for sure. From there, yeah, how about it?
I was a jazz drummer until I recorded with Paul, and then you play with a Beatle, and it really messes up your jazz career.
I said that before. I said that we had talked just the other day about how your new jazz album is so special for you, and I said because really your roots were always in jazz. I mean, you played great rock and roll, and you really dedicated yourself to that for the longest time. But you're happy playing jazz. It's just like it's home for them, you know.
Yeah. You mentioned that. I remember when my brother was still alive, when Larry was still alive too. I mean, it's like I often would hear him talk and you know, jazz, like I don't know, you guys are just, and both you, Denny, and Darryl, like that's what it's all about. Why for what reason, for those of us that might not know enough, for what reason?
Well, jazz, you can take jazz is a little bit more of an open format for a drummer. You get to participate in the music rather than just basically hold down a beat for everybody else to play on. Rock and roll is a lot of rock and roll drummers can't play jazz, but most good jazz drummers can play rock and roll if they have to. You just switch your head a little bit. But jazz offers the drummer a little more explorative area where you can just get in there, and you can compliment whoever's soloing by what you add to it or what you don't play. But it's just a freer form of music for a drummer, for sure.
Right. I want to talk a little bit about some things that are coming up here on Denny's schedule, some things that are going on at the Mach Chunk Opera House, which is going to be the end of this month. Also want to talk about something new, something cutting edge coming up in the that's been going on, but something cutting edge in the music world, and also some gigs in New York City, plus Beetlefest, which is coming up. Denny, can I get myself legal at the top of the hour? Can you hang on for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll be back. Hang on, everybody. Right back.
You're listening to Penn Speak Radio, where the music really matters.
Penn Speak Radio and the bump and grind. I don't know. We call it. What do you think of the name of the show? The name of the show means a lot, doesn't it? I mean, right, Denny? I mean, Denny, you would know. The name of anything really encompasses it all. The bump and grind could mean a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Did you ever work any of those shows, Denny?
Something totally different.
Yeah, totally different.
Your brother said, did you work any of those shows?
No, I've never worked the pit in Broadway.
Wow. All right.
I've never worked a Broadway show. And today, I mean, the musicians in New York, the recording industry is really, for the most part, it's gone. Because everybody does it in their office now. The studios are going under because of the advent of Pro Tools and computers and everything. The studios go under, and the guys might show up to a guy's apartment with a guitar or a keyboard or something, lay down a part, and yeah, it's for the most part. So the pit work is really the work that keeps these guys going and allows them to get their pensions and get their benefits through the union and everything. So that's the most desired job in New York these days.
You know, and you bring up a point. You bring up a point. Let's go back to I don't know. Do I dare say old school, Darryl?
I think it applies here.
It applies here to all of us. No. The way things are laid down, Darryl and I were talking here too. Your brother and I were talking. You know, you come from that era, even Darryl as well. But the recording studios, do you feel you know, you're laying tracks down, you're sending them as files, you're doing this? Have people lost a little bit of that? You know, how you used to get in there and do things all together. I mean, is it a little different?
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, I don't want to get into that, but it seems like it's really, everybody expected this phase to be over by now. Mm-hmm. And it's not. It's not. And in fact, they just make more equipment, more tools that you can use every year. It gets more sophisticated, and they're marrying the live playing with the sampled sounds and everything. So you really don't know what you're hearing. But what's a shame through this whole thing is there's a lot of people that haven't dedicated their lives to playing an instrument and their craft. That are doing really well because they understand how a computer works. And a lot of the kids don't give the dedication that Darryl and I did when we were learning how to play our instrument. And most studio musicians are studio musicians because they do something that's not normal. We can play anything at any time. They can put a piece of music in front of us and we perform it like we've been playing it all of our lives. You know, that's a special talent. And that seems to be going. That seems going. And kids that want to get into that world have to learn how to be that person, even though there might not be that kind of work left for them. But they also have to learn how to do all of this other stuff, the electronic, the Pro Tools, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, I guess, and I wasn't backing into a corner, but it's just technology. The way things have just really, really changed. But is what it is. So
then again, I did my trio album in this room behind me here.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's look,
the guitar over there, the drums back in the corner, and my engineer's sitting here where I'm sitting right now in the same room, and it sounds so good. People say, "Where did you record that? Capital A?" I said, "No, second bedroom 2."
If we, Denny, can we get a glimpse of your studio there? If you scroll away, we're watching it. I mean, is that a jazz drum set in the back?
Well, this is the first set in the foreground here. Was that's my D drum workshop. That's kind of a funk kit. A little bit smaller than a rock kit, but a little bit bigger than a jazz kit. And in the back, I don't know if you can see, there's another set back there. With an 18-inch bass drum, and that's the jazz kit, and that's where they usually sit when I record. And a drum workshop, these are called turkey feather, Akuma feather. John Good, the manufacturer, calls them turkey's ass. Right. He said, "Did you ever stand behind a turkey and see how the feathers go up and out?" I said, "Not really, John." This guy has made so many beautiful changes in the drum world. He's done more for drummers and drumming than just about any man on the planet. In fact, this is a prototype that he just gave me. This drum here is called a Super Solid. I guess you can see it.
We can.
But it is made from one piece of wood.
Jeez.
It is not. Can you see the?
Yeah. Wow.
That's one big heavy mother.
Yeah.
And this is one huge piece of oak wood that's been hollowed out, and it sounds like better than any drum I've ever used in my life.
That's crazy. Seriously, how many drum sets do you own? You have a lot?
8 or 9.
Yeah.
Which one are you leaving me when you kick off?
We did our will the other day, man. It's going to depend on how I get treated in Jim Thorpe.
Okay, I'll do my best. It'll be worth it.
My dear friend Doug Feiger passed away 2 years ago, and Doug was the singer and the writer in the Knack, My Sharona.
Yep.
And Doug had an incredible studio at his house right over here in Woodland Hills, and I recorded there. And he had a Beatles commemorative set that was made in 1999 when they celebrated their 90th anniversary. So he bought one of those sets, and when he passed away, he wanted me to have that Beatles set, and I did. I bought it at a very, just making a contribution to the family trust kind of deal. But I have that Beatles set, which is it's really a nice kit of drums. Then I have my old Gretches from when I was with Gretsch for 37 years, and they kind of put me on the back burner because they thought I was getting a little too old for them or something. I don't know what it was. I guess I didn't have a nose ring or tattoos. But they put me on the back burner, and I went with Drum Workshop, which I've always respected Don Lombardi and John Good for running that company the way they do. And I've been with them, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, and I really love what they're doing with the industry and with drums and how they service me and whatever. Like when I'm playing in Beetlefest next week, they'll have a set of Drum Workshop drums there for me. Yeah, and let's use that as a lead-in. And we were talking earlier about the whole drum thing. I mean, you look at it like, drums. What's up with drums? Like, how can you have to see Denny Seiwell when he plays the drums. I've had that opportunity. It's simply amazing. There's no words that can describe it. But March 30th is when the local one's going to take place at the Mach-Chunk Opera House. We'll get to that. But Beetlefest coming up. What's going on here? Talk a little bit about it. You're invited back. You're there again. Yeah, Beetlefest is in New Jersey at the Meadowlands, Crown Plaza Meadowlands Hotel in Secaucus. And it's a weekend event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday night, there's not much going on Friday, but Friday night, all the guests, you meet the guests, and then there's some autograph signing and stuff like that. And since Henry McCulloch was asked to appear this year, Henry and I were in the original band Wings. Mm-hmm. I contacted Henry, and I said, well, listen, why don't we do something special for this one since it's our first time together and make a record of Beatle material? So he's in Ireland. I said, just go into some little studio over there, and if you can sing any Beatle tunes, let's do your take or your version of what how you would play a Beatles song. Because nobody wants to do the Beatles song the way they did it. Nobody can do it that good. So he went into a studio and with a couple of his brothers, actually, Jason and Robin McNall on bass, and one of his other brothers too. I think they just. They're not professional musicians, but they knocked out some Beatles songs. And Henry sang and played. And he sent me the files, like we were talking earlier. And then I put drums on them here in my studio, had my engineer come, and we mixed them. We corrected a few things here and there. We made some edits. And we came up with this album.
Shabby Road. Isn't that cool?
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Shabby Road. And there's the back cover. It's got some real vintage old pictures of Henry and I on there. Oh, yeah. And then on the inside cover, we wanted to do something. That Shabby Road is the actual sign in London in front of Abbey Road. That's the street where Abbey Road Studios is on. And then on the inside, we thought we would do like the Let It Be thing, the forehead.
Isn't that cool?
The new ones. And then credits, so it's a nice little package, and we're really thrilled with the way it came out, and we're taking those along to the festival. And if there's any left over after the Beetlefest, we'll bring them up to Jim Thorpe. And yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe Darryl and I could get a signed copy if we knew somebody. You think, Darryl? Huh?
You got $10?
15.
Oh, 15. What? I don't get a family discount. Oh my God!
That is a discount.
Exclusive with Denny Seiwell, master drummer, done so much for so many, even kids now as well. Let's take a little break so we can talk about some things that you can't hear us talk about, and we want to touch base on Mach-Chunk Opera House, but something really new, very unique for the music industry. Denny, are we still good to hang for a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, good deal. All right, good deal. Well, yeah, because Darryl's having a good time here himself.
Yeah, it's good seeing him. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. We've had Skype for years. Darryl, this is his first time on. Maybe you'll go home and download it.
I don't even have electricity.
Oh, I figured, right. Well, throw another log on.
Listen, we'll be back with an exclusive with both Seiwell guys right here on the show. Stick around, all right? Penn Speak Radio and Van Halen and Finish What You Started. That's exactly. It's funny, you know. Now there's a song title that I can relate right into. Michelle, who's at home with our 5-year-old. Finish What You Started. You know, because here I have one that's 22 and I have one that's 5, and I had a small part to play, but she was still in a Halloween costume. She was dressed up as Gene Simmons. You would know him, Denny, right? I mean, you know those guys?
Yeah.
See? And that's
a nightmare.
Yeah.
No, wait.
No, wait, listen. No,
You're telling me...
Go ahead.
That...
Yeah.
Michelle was dressed as Gene Simmons...
For a Halloween party.
The night that...
She got pregnant.
That Blake was conceived.
That's right.
And you procreated.
And what, Denny?
Procreated.
Yeah, procreated. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And she made me feel like a PennDOT worker, man, because she did all the work. I did nothing.
How much am I going to have to drink to get that image out of my head?
I don't know. Next time you...
Still, sweetie, you won't enjoy it.
Oh, my goodness. Denny and Darryl Seiwell. Denny, certainly master drummer, one of the founders and the original lineup with Paul McCartney and Wings. Talked a little bit about Beetlefest, which is coming up. You have a couple of New York City clubs that are going on for you, too, when you make your way here, right?
Right. After Beetlefest, we have a couple days off. Then Wednesday, the 28th, we're playing this new club called the Cutting Room. It used to be down on 19 West 24th Street. And it's a great, great club. I played it several years ago with my friend Joe Beck before he passed, and I was in town for Beetlefest again, and they asked us to come and play, and it was Joe was dying of cancer at the time. He was a fabulous guitar player that kind of started my career off in New York, and we put some Dave Spinoza, who was on the Ram album, and Joe and I, and
Lou Marini.
Lou Marini from the Blues Brothers band, and is that right? Blues Brothers band?
Yep.
So I think so. And Eric Udell on bass. We played this night, and it was awesome. All my old friends from the city came out to see me and to say hello and goodbye to Joe, because everybody knew how sick he was, and he just played so beautifully that night. His family was there. It was a great night. So anyway, the Cutting Room reopened on 32nd and Park, the way I understand it. It's not really officially opened yet. That's why I'm taking so much time with this. So Wednesday the 28th, there probably won't be a lot of publicity about this thing, but anybody that's listening and is going to be in the city, that's going to be a great night to hear the trio. We'll do 2 sets at the Cutting Room, at the new Cutting Room, and we're really looking forward to that. Then the following night will be at Iridium, which I think that's on 7th Avenue. It's one of the top jazz clubs in New York. And we're actually splitting the bill with Henry McCulloch. Henry will be playing with some guys that he hasn't met yet, but he'll be doing his material for he'll do like a 45, 50-minute set, then we'll do a 45-minute set, and then they'll change the house, and then we'll do that again for a second show. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So it'll be Henry's band playing his material, not the Beetlefest material, his material, and then my trio doing our material 2 times, first and second shows. So that's really going to be great fun. And then the following morning, our good buddy Brad Costas is going to pick us up in the city. Thank God.
Brad's schlepping him up from New York City.
Brad's schlepping him up.
Yeah. He's doing all the driving because we'll be really tired. But really, the whole thing is based around Jim Thorpe, that we could come up and play that old mock junk opera house, man. We're really looking forward to that. I know what a great venue it's going to be. I'm really thrilled that Vince DiGiosio has made this thing happen, and Darryl and Brad were really responsible for making this thing happen. It's going to be great to come home and play. I have not played at home since I left, except a couple of years ago for the Carbon County Band Festival.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which Darryl was a real treat for me, because Darryl got to conduct the kids, which they can't get a better conductor. I'm so proud of what Darryl did with his life up there. I can't begin to tell you how proud I am. But then for for me to play with the band, because it was 50 years since the damn thing started, and I was the first one. That kind of sucked. But other than that, to play with the kids, and one of the other band directors, we did a song called Concerto for Drum Set that Darryl conducted. And then one of the other band directors surprised me. He said, "Hey, my band knows how to play this tune called Live and Let Die. Did you mind playing that as well?" I went, "Jesus, we didn't rehearse that or anything. Is it just like the record?" He says, "Exactly like the record." So I went ahead and played it with the kids, and it was really a trip. You know, it was great fun. But that was the only other time that I played in the area since leaving in 1962.
Wow. You got to come back more often every once in a while.
Well, if there was a gig, I would.
No, we'll get you a gig. What the hell? We'll put you in Darryl's backyard, for God's sakes, on the lake.
That's right. We can find something for you.
Yeah, we'll find something for you. Heck.
The damn airfares keep going up, though.
I know. Well, Darryl. The heck?
We'll
take it out of Donna's. He'll take it out of Donna's inheritance.
That's right.
Tell Trump to send one of his planes out for us.
There you go.
I'll try. I'll think about it.
There you go. Your private jet.
Well, I mean, the thing is, and we talked about this before, for decades, I didn't get a chance to hear him play. And and you were doing your thing out on the West Coast, and I'm raising a family out east and working all week with the high school band, weekends with whatever band I was playing with, and we just didn't get the opportunities. But in the last 5 or 6, 7 years, I got to hear him play it. We went to that Cutting Room gig a couple of years ago. I went down with Larry Choley, our drummer in the band, and Jimmy Markley. We went to Bethlehem and hopped on a bus, drove down to New York, took the cab over, and Cutting Room was just the coolest club. Yeah. I mean, all the beautiful people were there, not to mention all these celebrities in the world of music, and Chris Noth, who was from Sex and the City.
Yeah,
he was the owner of that club. Oh. Well, not that we saw him, but I mean, it was just such a fabulous night of music, and then we went back to the Port Authority bus terminal and got on the bus with a bunch of old lady and people just got done working a graveyard shift and went home.
Did people smelling like soap and everything, right?
Oh, if that would have been an improvement over what we had. But what a great night! I'm just saying, and the Beetlefest thing. If anybody has a mind to go down and see this Beetlefest thing, let me describe what happened when we walked into the hotel lobby. I guess, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago we were down there last, that Denny was there. But you walk into the lobby and there are 70 or 80 people sitting around this lobby playing guitar from the age of 7 or 8 to 75 or 80. And they're all playing Beatle tunes. They all know the chords. They all know the words. Like 80 people singing a Beatle tune, and it was... I mean, you talk about a feeling for revering a band. The whole weekend was just really cool. So we're going down.
Are you going
down?
Yeah,
we have a room. Well, a big shot sprung for a room this time, and if anybody wants to come and stay with us, you can just.
I wouldn't call it a room. It's more like a closet.
Yeah. Is he? I can feel the brotherly love as it should be. Not many times you can bust somebody's.
It's on me, but it's on. Even though it's a closet, it's on me.
Oh, there you go. Well, I mean, it's amazing.
Afternoon, actually, I just heard from the promoter. I'll be doing the Ram Clinic again Saturday afternoon. So for 40 minutes, I'll just take a CD or my iPod of the Ram songs that people don't hear anymore because it's such a tremendous album or CD, but people don't play that music because it's really hard music. And I play the drums along to the tracks on the CD, which the fans really, really love. And this year I'm going to add a couple of new things that they haven't heard. And that's always a treat for me because they're reissuing the Ram album this year sometime. They're working on it now. It should be out in the next 3 to 6 months, I would say.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Denny.
No, that was it.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
done.
All right. I thought I heard something in the back. It's a technology, Darryl. Listen, let me just get caught up with just a couple of commercial announcements here, and more with both Denny Seiwell, Darryl Seiwell, the Seiwell brothers, and we'll be back. I want to talk about this this new music endeavor that's going on, Music Inc., in case you haven't heard. Some big news going on here. Plus, something I read a while ago on Paul McCartney. And I want to just bring that up as well. We'll be bringing it all full circle, and I can't. It's been an hour that we have even Denny on Skype, but it's great for Darryl since Darryl isn't technically minded, and I think Denny's even. Are you going to play for us too?
Yeah, I'm going to play for you.
All right, here we go. Yeah. How's that?
That's all you get for a quarter.
That's all you get for a quarter.
That's all you get for a quarter.
Are you there, Denny?
No drums?
Yeah, are you there? Oh, how come now it's a little lower? Yeah, we heard it.
Really?
Yeah.
That came through.
It's an amazing thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you just your mic seems a little lower now for whatever reason. That was weird.
I wonder if it self-adjusts.
Oh, maybe it does. I mean, we heard the drums real well. Now I hear you fine. Now I hear you fine. Denny via Skype. Better. Yeah, Denny via Skype from California. So, listen, bringing all things full circle, I read something on Paul McCartney, who he's the guy that, there you were with Paul McCartney and Wings. I read something very interesting, which I'm sure you can attest to. He's a very talented guy. All those guys were. How talented is Paul McCartney? Because I read an article where people were saying, I don't know, not that talented, not that. I mean, you hear that, and I'm taking this just from a commoner's point of view with what I read. Paul McCartney, I know myself, talented, but Denny?
No, he's unbelievably talented. I've been around the creme de la creme of the music world all these years, with guys like Leon Russell, another one that's the guys from the band, Rick Danko. I mean, I played with some really extraordinarily talented performers, but I've never come across anybody like Paul. I mean, his innate sense of music, not knowing how to read or write music. I mean, I watched him sit with George Martin and work out the arrangements for the orchestra, and he said, I want the cello's voice like this, I want the trombone's voice like this. I mean, he just knows more about music without knowing anything about music than anybody I've ever met. And his creativity to write a melody or to write a lyric to go along, there's nothing like him. He's beyond. That's why their music is so timeless. And that's one of the things that I'm most grateful for. I wasn't just in a rock and roll band that, came and went. The music that I made with Paul, excuse me, the music I made with Paul it's timeless. You'll be hearing it like they're reissuing Ram 40 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when it first came out, it was slagged as one of his worst albums. And now they see that it was one of his best records. One of the highest periods of creativity he ever had. And it was just after leaving the Beatles, and he had all that angst in him. And the Ram album was just, it was every day we'd go to work, it was just Paul and me and another guitar player, either Spinoza or Hugh McCracken. And it was just the three of us at any given day. He'd come in, he'd play us the song, what he was going to do that day, and we'd look at each other like, wow, this is good. You're going to be hearing this for a lot of years. This is awesome. Mm-hmm. So we would give it our best shot to make it something special. Yeah. Knowing that it would be around for a long period of time.
I knew that. Now we're really loud. I'm loud on your end now. Now I'm hearing some feedback there, Denny, a little bit. I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe it rebooted the sound here a little bit. Something new on the music end. Music Inc. You mentioned what this was. Pretty.
Matt Sorum did that when we first started to Music Inc. That isn't it. It's Musinc, short for Musicians Inquiry. So it's spelled MUSINQ.
.com. You might get a shirt, Darryl.
I don't think so. But maybe he'll give in and give me one.
He'll
So tell us about it.
MUSINQ. Well, I teach drums out here in LA, and a doctor friend of mine, I've been teaching his boy for 9 years, and he plays guitar, and he had this idea that said nowhere on the internet could he find a place to talk to musicians of note that have really made it. that have gone and done what most musicians try to do. Nowhere could you go on the internet and ask these people questions about how to do certain things. How do you get a gig? How do you keep a gig? What do you do when you're recording at home? How do you do this? How do you do that? It just doesn't exist apart from, like, Guitar Center might have a little thing where you can talk to some people that know some stuff about music, but not a celebrity musician. So we put together this list of musicians. Davy Johnstone from Elton John's band. He's been the guitar player with Elton for 40-some years. He's just an icon in the business. Just a brilliant guitar player and really a nice man. Davy's joined our ranks. Steve Porcaro from Toto, who's also a film composer. He's composed music for a lot of films, and he's doing that new TV show Justified. He does that from his home studio. So Steve will be one of the people you can ask a question of. Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver. He's just a great drummer and a really good friend of mine. And I believe that we had another guy that we're going to have to change our ranks, and we're adding a bass player named Lee Sklar. Now, Leland played with everybody on the planet. He's one of the busiest guys in the world. He looks like one of the ZZ Top guys with a long beard. You'd probably seen him around with James Taylor and so many artists. He's one of the favorite bass players of all time, but I had a conversation with him the other day. So what you can do, you can log on to musinc.com, and we're still kind of new, but you can ask a question like, how did you get that sound on that record, or whatever the question may be, and you will get an answer back within several days' time from that celebrity. What we're doing next is adding voice, so when you come on and you ask a question, you actually hear the voice of that celebrity musician. That's still in the works. We have some technological stuff that we have to do to get that up and running, but that will be running shortly, really shortly. And so where else can you just log on, ask a question, and hear the guy that you asked the question of actually answer it in his own voice?
Yeah.
So we're thrilled about this, and we've had thousands of people that have visited the site already. We've answered thousands of questions. And our web developer guy says that the sticky time, which is the amount of time that someone stays on a site, it averages like 6 minutes, which is unbelievable. And people are just spending a lot of time on there watching the other questions and looking at there's video clips of each of the artists and what have you. And we're going to be adding things like each month or so we'll have a guest artist, somebody. A huge name will come on for a day or something and answer some questions. We're going to be doing some teaching. We'll do like little clinics where each artist will do a little clinic on what he specializes in, and then hopefully we're going to have this thing called the backstage pass, where we just get together, the 4 or 5 of us, and we hang out and talk about backstage, letting the listener come right into the dressing room after a show or something like that. Tell some goofy stories about weird experiences that happen at concerts around the world and what have you. So we're really excited about this, and we know that it's going to provide a really nice service to.
It's, you know what, when you and I talked like last week about that, we touched base on that. It's very unique, that's very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally different.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist on the internet, and so we hope that all the fans that are out there listening. Oh, yeah. Sure, I know what you're talking about. That's the National Association of Drug Court Professionals.
Yeah, what do we got going on there, Denny?
It's a wonderful organization. You can go to allrise.org to check this out. And my friend Wes Huddleston is the CEO of that. And what they do is there's 1.2 million people in prison at the taxpayer's expense on non-violent drug and alcohol offenses. Mm-hmm. That's just wrong. So what drug courts does, there's 2,500 across the United States now 2,500 courts, and it's maybe 20 years old. And what it does is it instead of sending somebody into prison, and once you're in prison, you know what's going to happen next. You're going to be going back to prison. You're going to learn all of the wrong things in there. So what it does is it allows these people that have nonviolent drug or alcohol offenses to go to treatment. It's an 18-month treatment that's set up by the courts, and usually if you get through this treatment program, you're not going to go back to jail, and your family will stay together. You won't cost the taxpayers all of this money. It's just a wonderful organization, and this year we got a huge grant from the Congress. Congress gave us more money than last year because they see the value of it. And what it's doing also is the veterans. These guys are coming back from the wars, and the government isn't really doing a lot for them, and they have problems. They're beating up their wives. They're beating up cops. They're drinking too much. They're getting drug problems. And these guys have put their lives on the line for us, and man, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. So 1 out of 4 vets are coming back with a serious problem. Now there were 4 million people involved in this war altogether, and 1 million of them have problems. So we got to do something. So we're organizing all kinds of fundraisers, and we're having a motorcycle event where we pass a gavel, a drug court gavel, from club to club across the United States. That's happening in May 1st. But we're trying to set up these courts just for veterans. It's called Justice for Veterans. And we're trying to help these guys find their way out of the maze that we might have put them in. And so it's one of those things that's close to my heart. And you can go on to allrise.org, like, you know, when the judge comes into court, right? All rise! And there's all kind of videos in there of celebrities that help us out. And it's really a great organization. So we need to make aware of this organization so people can, if they find themselves or a family member in trouble, they can make use of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely that's commendable. There is absolutely awesome. With that link and with that said, as we edge closer to the end of the show, and I can't thank you enough, Denny, even for spending a whole hour. And I know Denny's excited about it because what the hell, he doesn't have Skype, so he gets to see you now. So you're there. How are you feeling about that?
I get out of the house. I mean,
that
in itself is wonderful. I had a doctor's appointment at 8 o'clock this morning.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was just fabulous.
There you
all
go.
the parts are still there.
Are they?
They're rusty, but they're all still there.
Before he.
What do you want to? Denny, go ahead, say it anyway, Denny.
Oh, no. I thought it was a proctologist. I wondered if he kissed him first.
All right. Was it a proctologist? Did he kiss you first?
No, you bought me breakfast. I don't know. I don't require contact, just food. Yeah.
I want. Make sure you send me the links. I do have the link for the Ask the Celebrity. We have that, but even on the All Rise, if you want to just send me those links, Denny, I'll post them on our site and on my show page as well. Whatever we can do to help. And I'm going to end this whole interview. You can definitely log on to PennSpeakRadio.com, but I'm sure you heard these songs like 9 zillion times, but maybe one that you probably heard, maybe I'm Amazed once or twice in your life, haven't you?
Well, you know, I didn't play on that one. That Maybe I'm Amazed was recorded by Paul on his first record, although we did some live recordings of that with Wings when we were performing in like the European tour and what have you. So I don't know which version you're playing, but Maybe I'm Amazed is always one of my favorites. I love playing that song, but it might not be me on drums.
I have the live one, and we'll just make believe it is, and then we'll finish it up with that Live and Let Die, I think. That's probably
not a bad choice.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice either. So we'll slide them both in. But Denny Seiwell, listen, we covered a lot of ground here. I'm very grateful. Gosh, you know, Lehighton, born and raised people, and you know what I found on your website? I found, like you said, where it all began. I saw a picture of someplace in Weisport.
Oh yeah, the Fort Allen apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, Monique and I lived there.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that. You really lived life in a fast lane, buddy.
Oh yeah. That was like, she said, I married this guy?
No, but then you made the big move from there to a trailer in Tobyhanna when you were playing up at Mount Airy.
Thank you.
Well,
French that came from the French Riviera, the most beautiful place on the planet, you know.
Yeah.
You know, 45 years later, it's going to be 46 this Thanksgiving, but 45 years later, we're still together. And there's only one other guy in the music world that I know has been in that kind of a relationship. Jim Keltner, the drummer, he's been married 49 years. He married his high school sweetheart, and they got, they're still together and still happy. And so it made life a lot easier having a partner and a soulmate and everything. So
that's all.
No, you got the best there, bud.
Yeah.
But some of those years weren't so good. There's some lean pickings in there.
Were there times that she would get pissed at you?
Huh?
Were there times that she'd get pissed at you, mad at you? Yeah.
Times that she didn't get pissed at me.
Jesus, that's a testament, though. 45 years. What the hell? That lasted longer than all three of mine.
Now, being the wife of a musician, it's not an easy task, because sometimes sometimes it's champagne, and the other times it's water.
Mm-hmm.
Times are good, times are bad, but if you got a partner and a soulmate, it's easy to wade through the bad times.
What's some great advice from Denny Seiwell? And don't miss a show. It's going to be March 30th right here at the Mock Chunk Opera House, or if you're getting into New York, or the website, DennySeiwell.com, you'll find all the information that we talked about. Those of you that want to revisit this show, it is worth seeing again through Blue Ridge Digital Cable. It's on free on demand as well. So I have a copy of this being taped, so this way, we'll give one to Darryl. Hopefully he has a DVD player at home. Do you have one of those?
No,
a DV.
D.
I have a D, I think.
Listen, before I go, I got to mention the two guys in my trio. I didn't really mention them.
Oh, we do. That's right. Jeez.
Do we have a sax?
No, we have time. Yeah, go.
John Chiudini, my guitar player, wonderful guy. He's from Boston. He played with the Boston Pops Orchestra, with Buddy DeFranco, Peggy Lee, Natalie Cole, Maynard Ferguson, Michael Bolton, Bobby Caldwell, Tony Bennett, Louis Belson, Shirley Horn, Hubert Laws, Barry Manilow, Barbara Streisand, Nancy Wilson, Michael Bublé, David Foster, Johnny Mandel, Pat Williams. This guy's played with everybody. He's a really, really nice man and a beautiful guitar player. And my organ guy is Joe Bagg, who he always gets mentioned on the downbeat polls as one of the top organ players. And he's played with people like Bobby Hutcherson and Plaz Johnson and Charlie McPherson, and Billy Higgins, Jack Sheldon, Bob Duro from out there in the Poconos. He's played with a lot of people. He's a younger guy, but just an amazing musician. And when the three of us get together, it's always something special that happens. Every time we perform a show, we have a basic premise that we do, but that every show is so different. That's what makes it so exciting, and it's always great, whatever it is.
Well, this is what you said, too, and I know they did an article on you in the Times News promoting this, the local paper here as well, and this is, this is going to be a lot different show. I mean, on March 30th with the Denny Seiwell Trio, a little on this, this is going to be something that people aren't quite used to, but it's certainly outside the box stuff, Denny, right?
Yeah, but it's not over your head like goofy jazz that you're going to go home saying, "What did I spend money on that for?"
No, he's right though. It's very this jazz is very, very accessible to people who like music. Mm-hmm. I know people who say they are jazz fans, and yet if they're listening to like a sax player like Dave Liebman or somebody, and they hear a guy that plays 8 billion notes in 2 seconds, they don't always understand it. This jazz is not over people's heads. It's very creative, and it's very musical, and it's very compelling. Mm-hmm. And yet it's accessible to the normal guy, and right. to a person who likes jazz and who likes blues. They're going to love their music because a lot of it's blues based, wouldn't you say?
Yes, that's beautifully put, Darryl. And also we do 5 McCartney songs. We do songs that were very popular that were made by McCartney, where we reharmonize them and make them into jazz tunes, and that's always wonderful because you'll know a lot of these songs, and it really is. It's a very special treat, and like Darryl says, it has a lot of roots to it, so it just doesn't feel like it's a bunch of guys playing out there in the Astral Cafeteria. We're actually making some music, and we get to explore the tune, and not freak everybody out with a bunch of notes. It's melodies and music and groove and beats, and I'm just thrilled. It's one of the best things I've ever participated in my musical career, for sure.
That is,
and that's saying a lot.
I was just going to say that might lead into just a question too, like one of your highlights throughout your illustrious career. One of the highlights, that might be one of them. Then, Denny.
Absolutely, absolutely. The first time we played together, Richard Lewis, the comedian, introduced us up at a club here called Vitello's, and he sat in the front row, and just watching him react to the music just killed me. I mean, all the fans that were there, it was all fans and friends, and we just got out there and played, and we rehearsed, and we had everything set, and nothing went anything like the rehearsal. And it was brilliant. And I said, this is it. I'm home here. I found guys that were on that same wavelength. We can play together and experiment and make music together, and whatever happens, it's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be March 30th, Mock Chunk Opera House, and
absolutely, don't miss it.
Yeah, Denny Seiwell back. That's cool. Do you think is Darryl going to get a ticket? Are you going to be in the front row? Or where are you going to be? Where did they put you?
I think I am going to be in the front row. I may get the honor of introducing the Denny Seiwell Trio.
Wow, how'd you pull that off?
I begged, but you'll have to write a little script for me because I don't want to go up there and stammer.
Yeah, don't know.
Don't worry, I'll do that, Darryl.
Okay.
But hopefully Darryl's going to break out his horn and play with us a little bit.
I might do it too, and I just have to. I'm a little scary. These guys are in the. They're in the big leagues. I'm still in the minors, but people are going to forgive me because they know I'm old and a little senile.
Yeah, that's all right. They'll cover up for you. Don't worry, Darryl.
Okay.
So much we can talk about. And Denny, I don't know, knowing the family, and there we are, all on 8th Street in Lehighton, Pennsylvania, when I was just only about 2 or 3 weeks old, and Darryl said that was about the only time I was good.
Well, up until the time you learned to talk.
Then I was bad.
And then things went steadily downhill.
We didn't beat you up or anything, did we?
No, I don't think.
No, he was too young.
I was just born. No, you kicked the crap out of Reenie, though, I think. I don't know. That's all I remember. I don't know. And all I can't get that figment of my imagination out of my head with Lorene at the Packerton Dam. What's up with that?
Oh, well, Denny was long gone, but don't worry, I'll never forget.
Denny,
It's fun being a dumb Dutchman from Lehigh.
How about it?
That's redundant.
Denny Seiwell, what an exclusive, and I really can't thank you enough, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in town the end of March, Denny.
Absolutely. It's right around the corner. Thank you, Lane. I really appreciate having the chance to talk about all these things that are really so close to my heart, and it's really great to see Darryl there. We don't see enough of each other, although it's much better than it was in the past. So it's great to see him on Skype, and I'll see if we can make a little extra money, get some electricity so we can have Skype at home.
Thank you. I like that.
Denny from California, safe trip, and gosh, man, can't thank you enough. If you want to hang on, and if you and Darryl want to just chat a little bit while we do some things, hold the phone there. We'll be back, everybody, and we'll do it up. We'll sneak in a couple from the Wings era, and one of them that you'll hear Denny on with Live and Let Die, all on the way. Stick around, okay?
What's the doc?
They could sue you for that.
The Daily Bump and Grind on Blue Ridge Digital Channel 113.